Good morning, race fans, and welcome to Today at the Races at Laurel Park. Tim Tulloch alongside Callie Francois. Callie, a big day of racing here in Maryland.
Yes.
A big day of racing across the country, but
yes.
Look, the focus is on Kentucky
yes.
today.
Most notably, Happy Oaks Day, everybody. We've got a fun Friday of racing here coming up, and most notably, as you noted, there's a great card at Churchill, but we've got a fun card here to just get you started over here in Maryland.
We do have a nice card this afternoon. Unfortunately, we are going to be off the turf, but we're going to talk about that in one moment. We've got a lot of opportunities of wagering opportunities this weekend here and abroad. So let's start with this, the free Kentucky Derby wagering guide. You can find that, help you out, picks and strategies from the experts. You can download that at your First Bet app. So you might want to get involved with that. They're always full of great information. Also, we have a a bonus if you sign up to First Bet, the official app for the Maryland Jockey Club. $100 sign-up bonus. Just go to promo code FAST100. And Callie, and then the day after tomorrow is Mother's Day.
Yes, it's Mother's Day this Sunday. Normally it's a week after the Derby, as you noted, but this week it's Mother's Day right around the corner, literally. So make sure you set your mothers well up here. We've got a nice lunch buffet here on Mother's Day from 12 to 5 during the races right here at Laurel Park Racetrack. Visit laurelpark.com for more info to cherish your mother on Mother's Day.
As I mentioned, we are off the turf. It's been raining steadily all morning long. The racetrack will start out and stay at sloppy. It will not get any better than that. Unfortunately, we are off the turf, about 57 degrees, a little bit of wind. It will be overcast all afternoon. Well, we've got a lot to get to, Callie, so let's get right into it. Race 1 does kick off the early pick 5 here today at the Laurel Park. Mandatory payout in the early pick 5. And race 1 does come off the turf, but it stays together with a good 8-horse field. And I kind of thought it became just a tad more interesting race off the turf than it was on the turf.
Absolutely, Tim.
So this one is for 3-year-olds and upward, wide open, 12-5. We're going to start with our top pick. That is the 9 Big Tall Dog for Kieran McGee. Jamie Rodriguez gets the call. Hey, this one's been in good form at this level and does have some positive races on a track with moisture.
He does, absolutely. Just referring back to that last one at the 5.5 on a sloppy track, this horse has shown ability to track off the pace, tried to do that. I think they're going to try and gun it, especially with some of these scratches today. I think they're going to try and gun it a little bit more today, and I have a feeling Kieran McGee and Rodriguez will be a bit more successful with that.
You have the 12 in the mix. Here we go for Hugh McMahon. Gene Alvello will do the riding. Comes off a win at Penn National in a beaten nickel race. Callie's stepping up this afternoon.
He's stepping up, but I'm going a lot of which horses can go on this type of footing today, and I'm referring back to that Parks move back in February of last year, but that was set along. That was 7 furlongs. We get a little bit shorter today, which I do think Here We Go will appreciate. That was too much distance for that horse, but did go well on that type of footing.
Callie and I in agreement on the winner of the first, and then we're sort of spread out after that. As we move to race number 2, kicks off the early pick 4. Keith Fusel not with us here live on studio, but he's with us in spirit as he sent us in a pick 4 ticket, and this is how he plays it. In race 2, he goes too deep. He uses the 5 and the 8. Race 3, he spreads 5, 6, 7, 10, 14. That is a race that comes off of the turf but still holds together with a good field. Race 4, 1 and 4. Race 5, he uses the 2 and 7. That's a $20 early pick 4 ticket for Keith Fusel. Race 2 is a maiden event for maiden 3-year-olds, claiming price $10,000, going a mile and an eighth for these maidens over this sloppy racetrack this afternoon. And both you and I, Callie, have the 4 Brett Meister on top for Dale Bennett. Comes off a race this past February over a racetrack that was rated good, ran a lifetime best that day when getting down to this level.
And I think stretching out a little bit as well. The first time stretching out, that's a hard ask for a horse, so I think the second time routing really, really helped out this horse. You have Dale Bennett, who's at 35% first after the layoff, and notably so with a nice work on April 23rd up at Fair Hill coming into this race.
I have the 8 Shanghai Candy in the mix. This is a first time gelding for for Carlos Mancia, for Mancia. This one's never been on the slop. 2 races ago, going a mile was okay. I think the slop moves this one up by Shanghai Bobby out of a Candy Ride mare.
Absolutely. I think he's a Candy Ride. He's 16% on that off going, so I think he will appreciate that off going today.
8-1 on the morning line on the 8 Shanghai Candy. Race 3 is another one of our races that does come off the turf. We'll run at 5.5 furlongs on the main track. It stays together really, really well.
It does.
With 10 horses, 11 horses, close to it here in race number 3. It's for 3-year-olds up, which start for 25 or less and never won 3 races. And we'll start with your top pick, Callie, and that is the 7 Harkness for Jamie Ness. Jamie Rodriguez will get the riding assignment once again. This one's dropping out of A Other Than Company with good efforts against those in those races. Running against the right type, Shandy Mooney, Hefner, Shake 'em Loose, certainly could work here this afternoon. And he does have a good figure on an off track.
He does, and no disrespectful runs at all at that optional level. Has yet to get a win on the off track on that wet dirt, but I think today, Tim, he might have found the right field because he has gone on the off going, back at Parks, going this distance, going short. Has yet to get a little bit of a grip of it, but I think they wanted to cut back in distance for this horses for a reason. He's just not quite getting there at this distance, so they're giving him a little bit of relief every which way, and I think he will improve on this off-going today.
We both use the 2 Rad Paisley for Rudy Sanchez Solomon. Reached a little high in the KT Leatherbury on the grass in his last start. Gets back to the main track here this afternoon. An okay race in August 2021 over a track with moisture, but by liaison, I have a Storm and Fever mare I think is capable of running better on and off track and certainly getting back to the right sort of company.
Absolutely. I think Rudy's got this. And of course, this horse has been claimed by Rudy Sanchez Salmon, who can really, really turn horses around. So I think that's one of the most notable parts, as well as the breeding, to be able to handle that off going. Rudy will set this horse up well.
7:14 for Callie in race 3, 2-7 for myself as we move to race number 4. Race number 4 kicks off the Rainbow Pick 6. As always, Callie, you put together a ticket. How'd you play it this afternoon?
I do start off with a single. In this race with Divine Proportion in race number 5, I go 3 deep with the 2, the 3, and the 7. All horses I think that will be able to handle this off going, and that's primarily how I'm basing this ticket off of, Tim. And in race number 6, in that allowance optional, claiming that did fall apart a little bit, I go with the 5, the 6, the 7, and the 12. Race number 7, I double down with the 3 and the 4. Race number 8, I go in deep on that race. I think there are a lot of horses, a lot of fillies that can handle this type of off-going. So I go with the 2, the 4, the 6, the 8, and the 9. The 8, Champagne Toast, is not on my picks, but I found to be a very, very interesting filly in that race at 15-1. And for my nightcap, I finish off with the 2, the 6, and the 11 for a bit of a pricey ticket today of $72 to get you started.
Well, it's a big weekend, and it's a lot of fun to spend money on big weekends, so go right ahead. Race 4 is an Onwards of 2 lifetime, claiming price of $5,000 for 3-year-olds and upward. Going 3/4 of a mile, and both you and I are on the 1, Divine Proportion for Damon Dilladovico. Look, this one's found a home at this level. Last 2 races at this Onwards of 2 for $5,000, both good efforts behind a next out winner, 2 back, and just pick 1.
Exactly, and the time before that, it wasn't a bad race at that maiden 10 level, but again, this drop down, this is where he's found his home. Very, very consistent performances since then, and again, likes the off going, and will get that chance again.
We both sort of like the 4. Boss is a Pal. You have him in your exact first-time gelding for Suzanne Citinius, coming off of a layoff. She's putting her perfect record here this spring on the line this afternoon. But remember, her 2 winners this spring are both horses that were coming off extended layoffs.
Exactly. I mean, out of the last 5 first after the layoff, Suzanne has run. 3 of them have won, and 1 of them has been fourth. That's 4 out of 5 in the money and 60% winning at a winning striking distance going at first after the layoff. So I've got to bank on that.
The 2 is Red Mesa, that we both use a little bit for Anthony Ferrier, just simply getting back to a level where he should be competitive. Race 4 does kick off the Rainbow Pick 6. We have to take a little break, but when we come back, we'll talk about the late Pick 5. There is definitely still time to get tickets for this year's Preakness Stakes. So go ahead and search out, and you'll be able to get some tickets. You'll want to be here. It should be a big year. No restrictions this year. It should be a lot of fun. We'll be back to normal. Race 5 does kick off the late to pick 5 this afternoon. This is a maiden event going 5.5 furlongs for 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. Our top pick in here is the 2. Big scratch in here of the 6, Van Hoofer for Ben Perkins. That horse is out. 2, Howard's Rock for Brittany Russell. Just missed at this level when dropping to this maiden 16 level in his last start. Gets an off racetrack today, and I think that moves this one up even more.
Yes, Golden Lad is 19% on the wet dirt with his progeny, and then Spitestown is even a bit higher, up at 20% with that. So this horse is bred. This is the track that this horse is bred to run on, and I think Howard's Rock, again, as you noted, is going to improve even more, even though that was such a nice turnaround, impressive run last time out, dropping down to the 16. We're still at the 16 today.
Yeah, I would expect Howard's Rock to be popping the latches, going right to the front, and never looking back. He is my single on my early pick 5, which we'll talk about later this afternoon. The 7 is Inside Stunt, a first-time starter for Mikey Dralis. Look, this one has a very professional, solid work tab. The works are good, especially for this type of maiden level.
Exactly, and then on top of that, the works, and then Mikey Dralis, when he doesn't have a lot of first-time starters, but when he does have the first-time starters, he does do a very, very good job turning them out. 50% first-time start maiden 3-year-old, overall 33% first-time start, and then the Dam Sire Aconite, his progeny, wet dirt, 38%. You absolutely cannot ignore that. I think this horse will be just fine going for the first time out. Again, it's a tough ask, first time out on a sloppy sealed surface, but I think this horse Inside Stunt will be able to handle that no problem.
The 3 is Johnny Swish. Both you and I use a little bit. I have him in my exacta. This will be the second time off the claim for Mario Saray. I think you can make excuses in his last 2. 2 back the day that Mario claimed him was just too long, didn't want anything to do with a mile. You look back on his 4 mile 70, got his head caved in also. And last time, just simply too tough in the maiden 20. He gets back down to a level where he's had some success.
And exactly, and if you go back to that February 3rd race on this year, that was on a muddy surface at the 16 level at 5.5. Just missed it by a nose. This horse absolutely belongs in this race today.
Race 6 is a 2 other than that does come off of the grass, but it stays together pretty well. This is a very interesting race off the turf, and we're going to start with our top pick all the way to the outside. That is the 12, Proper Attire for Jerry Robb. First off the claim for Jerry Robb, it's about 29%. This is a horse that's already won twice at this 2 other than level.
Twice at the 2 other than level. And you go refer back to the starter optional claiming at the 6 3/4 furlongs on the off-going. This horse absolutely relished it when this horse was with Jamie Ness. And you can only guess that Jerry Robb this horse is speedy enough, and Jerry Robb will just really do a really fantastic job of just honing that speed and really going after that. So again, 24% winning last race. This horse, again, we're going off of what horses can handle mud. This horse of Jerry Robb's can certainly do that.
He can certainly do that. Speed from the outside, an angle that I really, really like, especially on an off track where if they like the off track and you can keep a horse in the clear, even better. It's like a bonus. The 11 is Jade's Jelly for Jamie Ness. Jamie Rodriguez once again gets the call. This one is making her Laurel Park debut, and she's stepping up to this 2 other than level for the first time, getting on a tougher circuit than that circuit in Texas. But it is Jamie Ness. she's capable of running big races as she did last summer at Saratoga.
She did, and she ran some nice figures. I mean, we're going to go back to that starter allowance at the 50. That was a nice go round about it. I was fighting between on having this filly on and off my ticket, Tim. So I'm glad that you put her on because she has a lot of questionable factors, but she has a lot of pizzazz factors that really want to make you definitely put her in your mix.
Sharp work since that last race for Jamie Ness, and of course, when you're in the barn of Jamie Ness for the first time, you win at 38% of the time. That's just a huge number. As we move to race number 7, a maiden event, a maiden claiming 25,000, going 3/4 of a mile, maiden 3, 4, and 5-year-olds for fillies and mares. And we'll start with your top pick. That is a 4, Silver's Girl for William Bourne. Forest Boys gets the call. Life best in her last race when Forrest first rode her. She got this filly to settle after stumbling at the break. Sometimes you discover things by default.
Yes.
Might have been the best thing to happen that she stumbled at the gate and she came with a good run.
Absolutely. I think if you just, and a lot of these horses, she was the last, that's exactly why I'm kind of forgiving that last time we saw her on and off track back in November. It was an off the turf event and it just ended up gunning for it. And that's not this filly's style. So as you noted, got taken back a little bit, just gave the horse some room to breathe, gave her some time to breathe. She's really going to relish that. I think she'll be performing a little bit better on this off going today, so I'm going to give her a chance.
And she should handle the off going. You draw a line through the one time she was on the slop. It was the maiden 40. Mm-hmm. She gets a little relief today, and she certainly performed better under Forest Boys at this $25,000 level. I have the 3, Notion of Curly on top for Brittany Russell, a first-time starter for Brittany Russell, who's been working very, very well here, especially for this maiden $25,000 level, is well entered by Great Notion out of a Curlin mare. Yep. There's a bonus here. It's a sloppy track. It should love it.
Love it.
Looks fast in the morning. Expect this one to come away.
Fast enough for this field, I think. I think this horse works in this spot absolutely, especially with that nice pizzazzy 5 furlong 101 flat coming, not coming out of the gate, but just off the pole. But either way, I like the 48 flat coming out of the gate, and I like that 101 sharp work coming into this, really getting these 2-year-olds keyed up and ready to go, and in that right type of mindset is really key with these 2-year-old races.
It's a first-time starter for Brittany Russell. They are always tough. As we move to race number 8, this is a 2 other than going 7/8 of a mile. And we're going to start with your top pick in here, and that is the 6 Fraudulent Charge. Our top pick, actually. Yes. The 6 Fraudulent Charge.
Yes.
Second off a break, and is getting back home again after having a little trouble at 10-1 at Keeneland. That probably wasn't going to work without trouble. However, very good going 7/8 of a mile here at Laurel Park. Sharp work since that last race. 1 for 1 on the off going. Wasn't a particularly good figure, but should be able to handle it.
It wasn't a very tenacious field when she did break her maiden over this track and distance and type of condition as well. The filly I feel like they did a good job giving this filly a little bit of time. She did have a trouble last trip, and yes, it is a question of whether she still would have improved without a troubled trip, but still, even then, she was only 7 lengths off of it's an optional claiming at Keeneland. That's pretty tough, but I like how this filly does run off of the layoff. If you go back to her difference from, I just lost in place, but there we go. She took a break in March and April, and then she came back at the fall of last year. And that second time out at the 31st of that Halloween run, that's what I'm indicating off of. She might need a run, and then she comes back the second time after the layoff with a really, really nice big bang. And Lacey got it is 21% second after the layoff, so that's what I'm keying off of as well for this filly.
Has run well, going 7/8 a mile, as I mentioned. The 4 is juror number 1. This one I have in my exacta, and she's returning off a little bit of a layoff. We haven't seen her since March 5th of this past spring at this 2 other than level. We're going to take a look at that race where she didn't get off the best, but she salvaged a good race as she comes out of the gate.
Here, To me,
Gets crunched.
she just gets absolutely. She gets crunched. She gets sideswiped. In fact, Javian Toledo called a foul at that point, and it did bump her up from third to second, rightfully so, because this is not this Philly style, and she likes to be up there within it. She would love to be where the 4 is right now. She gets a little bit rushed up there. She makes a little bit of a zealous move, but that's what needed to be done with her, and she ran well despite the start being completely knocked out. So I think they're reaching as far as they can with her, going that 7 furlongs. But again, this is where she does fit.
This turns out to be a pretty nice race for her. She comes in with some good works for Brittany Russell. Look, she hasn't run particularly well on and off track, but she's cut out to handle it. By Into Mischief out of a Malibu Moon mare, she's going to get some true slop here this afternoon.
She will.
For sure. The 2 is Halo City. Now, this is one that I don't have in my picks, Callie, but I took a quick look at her when I saw you use her on your Rainbow Pick 6, and I went,
Yeah.
3 for 6 on the off, going with 2 seconds and a third. Number a little soft, but she certainly likes it second off the layoff.
She does. She's good second off the layoff, and I'm going back to the she made a good run also at this distance back at Saratoga in August of last year. That was a nice run that I saw. So she's a winner on the mud. She's a winner at the 1 turn mile at Aqueduct. So you just cut that a little bit. She comes up from off the pace. She's still making a run at it. So this is more of a timed ride that Angel Suarez will have to go on this filly, but I feel like he will time it right on this. I think at 10-1, this is an attractive one, definitely for underneath.
A nice 2 out of than here in race 8, our feature race today. Nice 8-horse field, very competitive race. We'll watch for the 9 award wanted to the outside also, but we'll talk about him a little later on this afternoon. Race 9 is our nightcap. This one comes off the grass. Maiden special weight for maiden fillies, mares 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. Our top pick in here is the 2 Patria for Marco Salazar, coming off a lifetime best race for the maiden 40 over a racetrack that was rated good.
Rated good, and then we improved that to a sloppy track today. We're just assuming that this filly is going to just handle this track pretty well. I think that's what I based it off of. I don't know what you based it off of, Tim, but just really a nice change of pattern. Went to the lead, went like a proper runner, a proper racehorse, and I feel like we're gonna get to see that again today.
And hopefully she keeps herself together during post-spray, because first time out she was not the best. The 6 is always in motion for Cal Lynch. This one was entered main track only, so you always have to take a little bit of a notice to that. 22% off of this type of break. We have not seen them since January 3rd of 2021.
Exactly, and I'm going off of that first-time start with Michael Matz on the off-going here at Laurel in 2020. I feel like we're going to get a little bit of a different horse today in the Cal Lynch barn, and just really giving this horse some time. Obviously, the horse needed some time off, but Cal's good. Off of the layoff, he's sitting at 20% and 25% whenever a new horse comes into his barn. So he's also 38% with that route to sprint. So he saw that this horse was okay going a bit longer, but I think coming a bit shorter. I'm going to go off of Cal's judgment here.
Well, always tough, Cal Lynch is, and the jockey-trainer combination is pretty good over the past 2 years, 36% with Georgia Ruiz. I threw the 16 into the mix, a runner for Jane Sibeli. Angel Suarez gets the call, and I'm only mentioning it to just let everyone know that the 16 does run in the nightcap. I have that one in my exacta. Well, that's going to do our card here this afternoon. It's time to move to lightning round. Well, we've got a lot of good races going on here, just not horse races. We've got a bunch of good human races here. So here's how we look right here with 3 racing days left in the meet. The jockey standings, Jayron Barbosa had a winner yesterday. So did Javian Toledo. It stays 4 apart, but Javian could change that at any moment. He's got 3 or 4 good runners for Brittany Russell today, so that could change in a flash, so we'll have to look out for that. And Jamie Rodriguez is kind of laying in the weeds with Gene El Velo. Our trainer standings are not much a difference. Very, very interesting. Jamie Ness goes up 1 on Brittany Russell and Claudio Gonzalez. So when's it a long time we've seen Claudio Gonzalez tied for second in the trainer standings here in Maryland. Interesting day it's going to be. Jamie Ness has 2 in. Both look pretty live. Brittany has 3 in. They always look live. Right. Claudio has no horses in today, so it could all change today.
And he's got a couple, and just going over Saturday, Sunday, he's got a couple in. So today's a really eye-opening to see what's going to happen for the rest of this weekend leading in to the trainer leading meet title. So that coming in, it's going to be interesting, Tim.
And it means a lot to these guys to be leading trainers. So you can guarantee that Ness and Russell are trying to dethrone Claudio Gonzalez. And we love Claudio. Don't take it the wrong way, but everyone's competitive. Everybody's competitive.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We'll see how that all shakes out. Look, we've got the Preakness Stakes coming up in 2 weeks, and not only do we have all these stake races on Preakness Day, but we have a bunch of good stakes on Black-Eyed Susan Day. Not only the Black-Eyed Susan, the Grade 3 Miss Preakness, the Grade 3 Allaire DuPont, the Grade 3 Pimlico Special, $350,000 this year. So there's our board for the Preakness Day Stakes, which you can see and read right there. But that weekend is huge. 14 stakes over 2 days. And I don't need to remind, if you're watching this show, you know that the Preakness weekend is about horse racing, and we are going to put on another good show for the bettors and for the people who just love to be around horses.
We are. It's a wonderful day. It's Maryland's race day. It's Maryland's day to put on a show for racing, and I think we do a great job at it. It's always a fun time at Preakness. Even everybody who ships in, has a wonderful time during Preakness weekend. Please join us and go online to get your tickets for the Preakness weekend at Pimlico.
Looking forward to that, and it will be coming up very, very fast. All right, Callie, let's take a look at the feature race of the day around the country and probably around the world. The Kentucky Oaks down there at Churchill Downs. We both handicapped this race, and we're going to start with your top pick in here. That is the 4 Nest for Todd Pletcher. Clearly, moisture in a racetrack moved this one up in her last start in the Ashland, where she absolutely romped. She ran a big figure that day. It's not raining in Kentucky right now.
Not yet.
But rain is in the forecast, and we know in the South, in the summer and spring, those rains will come late afternoon.
They will, and that's primarily what I picked, based a lot of my picks off of today, Tim, and I'm going for a couple horses with a little bit of a price. Listen, in the Ashland, she should have, against that field, honestly, I thought she should have won by 8+ lengths. If she was a bit further back than she's ever been winning, so I thought that was really, really encouraging. And then as far as this distance goes in the Demoiselle, she was wide first turn, and at the end of that was just all-out, hard-nosed filly running. And what I also love is that she was a late 2-year-old. So this is the time, as a late 2-year-old, she's starting to cycle up, and I think she's just getting into her own self simply at the right time, Tim.
I think she might be. Now, she's going to have to run back to that race because any of her previous races simply won't be good enough. This is a very, very tough field. I do have Echo Zulu on top. I didn't originally, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Yep.
It's very, very hard to argue with her form. She's a perfect 5 for 5. She's a Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly champion. She's won every race she's won with ease. Even her last race, when she won by a nose, she still had her ears pricked. Doing it, just toying with him, I think, a little bit. She's had 4 work since. She's 1 for 1 on and off track, so if we get some rain, I think she's got the class of the bunch to get the job done.
She is, but I really wanted to split hairs with her, and I'm going to tell you.
I guess you did.
I did, and I'm going to tell you the reason I left her off my ticket.
Go ahead, talk to me.
So I am looking. So she had the ears pricked. She was really nice looking all the way up to it, but she started getting to the end where really horses started getting up to her. So she's had an easy lead throughout the entire time. There's no doubt about it that she's going to be up there, but she's going to have a little bit more pressure in this race race right along her flank throughout the entire time of the backside. And I'm looking at that gallop out last time out, and she did look a little bit tired in that gallop out last time out. And as far as this distance goes for today, I think she might be the type that just needs a little bit of a run at this distance. She's extremely impressive from the half on, but they win races at the wire, and I think there might be there's a little bit of chance that she might get overcome by a couple of these fillies that do well coming off of the pace on the off-going.
And like a lot of the fillies in this race, she does stretch out to 1 1/8 for the first time this afternoon. The one is Secret Oath. Now, Secret Oath was my original top pick, and then after I looked at the weather forecast, I had to back off Secret Oath a little bit. But we do have a video spotlight of Secret Oath. This is out of the Arkansas Derby, where she just absolutely took the worst of it. Now, this is against boys.
She did.
This was a huge race at the end of the day. You see she gets crushed here out of the gate. She takes back to almost last, and then we're going to pick it up outside the 5 ace pole, inside the 5 ace pole, going down the backside, where things really didn't get that much better for her in a very, very tough field against boys, as you see her right there, the 6.
Exactly. So she, first of all, that was a 46 and 3, 46 and 4, that first opening mile, and she just had to do all the hard work, Tim. She had to go wide. She had to essentially chase the horse that was chasing the pace setter. So there was just so much against the boys that day. Tim, I agree with you absolutely. There was so much work to do that day in the Arkansas Derby for this filly, and you can just see she's trying, but she just got tired. Now, we do have the coach at 25% currently from Oaklawn Park to Churchill Downs. Out of the last 8 entries, 2 winners, 1/3. So again, she might have to chase a quick pace today with a potential wet surface to go off of, and sometimes they can pick up the speed a little bit. But she's had that experience before at this distance, and I think the second time around, this is why I have her underneath as well.
And who is not rooting for Dwayne Lucas, who absolutely changed the complexion of the game in the late 70s and, of course, the 80s. That's a quick look at the Kentucky Oaks. You have the 10, Kathleen O. For Shug McGay in the mix. So do I. Going to have to run back to that Gulfstream Park Oaks race. That was a short field. Little suspect of that race. That is going to do it for Callie and myself. We'll be back later this afternoon. We'll go over every race on our card for this Friday, May 5th here in Maryland. Dave Rodman will be up with scratches and changes next.